Well, hello, YouTube. It's Earl. Merry Christmas. And I mean that. I hope you're all enjoying Christmas Day. It's the end of Christmas Day here for us. And so many of you will probably be watching it here over the next couple of days anyway. So it's past Christmas, but I hope you had a Merry Christmas. I know we did in our house. Tonight I am smoking a little bit of Awakened Elder by Cornell and Deal. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. And tonight, I don't do this very often, but I'm drinking a little Scotch, some Bowmore. I'm sure that's Bowmore. It's a single malt Scotch Isla whiskey. It's for those who are wondering about the tobacco, it's an English blend. What makes it, I think, unique about it is, number one, Awakened Elder is I believe from H.P. Lovecraft. It's their H.P. Lovecraft series. I've never read any of his stuff, don't know much about it. No, it's science fiction, horror stuff that people love. I'm not into that. But anyway, the blend itself, it is an English blend, Virginia's, Latakia, and a few other things. And I'll tell you about why the beard's gone here in a little bit. But what's unique about it is it's got casturi in there, which is, from what I understand, is what they put in clove cigars, or they use it for cigar filler leaf. Anyway, so it makes it a pretty unique blend itself. And yeah, that's about the tobacco. I've had one bowl of it this morning, and I've had another bowl of it, or I'm having another bowl of it here as I'm talking with you. And my family, for Christmas, my wife and kids, got me this lovely Savinelli 315, the St. Nicholas series, right? So lovely green, red, and white, beautiful pipe. I'm very glad they got that for me, because I kind of need a Christmas pipe. I like the pipe so much, I'll probably end up smoking it a lot more than just Christmas time. As far as the smoke it goes, there's something that reminds me a lot in this tobacco of Maltese Falcon. Now, Maltese Falcon has this, like, on the description says it's got this mysterious spice in it, so maybe it's casturi leaf. I think that's how you say it. But so maybe that's what it is, but it's also, so it's kind of got that clove smell or aroma, but it's also got like this cinnamon sweet aroma. And so that's what I would classify this as. Not a Frog Morton sweetness, but there's like a sweetness, and I imagine it's from the Orientals, or maybe it's from the casturi tobacco itself. So, like I said, Merry Christmas. So I figured tonight would be less about the tobacco, more about just kind of stories, how the day unfolded for us. So first of all, beard. It'll be back next week. This was an accident. And you go, how do you accidentally shave your beard? Well, I had trimmed my beard up because it had gotten a little shaggy. And if you saw the last video where I had my beard, you'd say, yeah, maybe it had gotten a little bit shaggy. And so I trimmed it, and I have a beard and mustache trimmer that you turn it to extend or bring it in closer to close up the trimmer. And I had done that, so I trimmed, and then I closed it up where it went down to 0 to put it back in the drawer. And then I found this one hair right here that I was like, you know what, I need to clip that. And I didn't even think. I just turned it on and put it against my chin and went zzz, and shaved it right off. And so, working in the professional field that I couldn't really just leave a hole there. I needed to make myself look very presentable. And I'm not sure that without a beard I'm much better, but anyway, that's how I ended up. So I had to go in, and I didn't shave. I didn't go clean shaven, but I took it down to a 1 or 2 on the sides and trim myself up. So that was me Sunday, or what, I think it was Sunday morning is when I ended up doing that. Not that y'all are real interested in that story. But Christmas Day, I don't know about y'all, but I think there are not many days that are much better, just as far as they're good times. So for us, we've got 4 small children at home, and I've got a 9-year-old boy, 7-year-old girl, and then a 4-year-old boy and a 2-year-old boy. So very young family. And so we went over to my parents' house. They live in town. Last night for Christmas Eve, and had a meal there, and then that's after we had gone to church and done a Christmas Eve service, and then we came home, got all the kids in bed, and we took care of whatever presents we needed to finish wrapping and putting out, and we did that. And then our rule is that when you wake up, you can eat as much candy as you want, as long as you don't wake mom and dad up. But as soon as you wake us up, that's when dietary restrictions come into play. And so anyway, my 9-year-old boy, my 4-year-old boy, they share a room, and my wife came and told me that they were up at about 3:30 this morning. So we had to usher them back to bed, and then I probably was summoned from the bed at about 6 to get up and moving. We did, and got to see what Santa brought each of the children. And so got to see that, and then we ate breakfast, and then all the kids, we got to open our presents. And for us, that's really just kind of controlled chaos. We typically do one at a time, but this year my wife, she had decided that she was going to devote a special wrapping paper for each kid's present, so she wouldn't put her name on it. We'd just know, because that wrapping paper would be for that kid. And of course, we ran out of wrapping paper for each one of them. And so, with that, we then had to kind of just, I know it sounds weird, but it was kind of like, here, open this. That might be for you, or it might be for somebody else. And so it really was kind of controlled chaos from that perspective. Normally we do kind of everybody opens one at a time type thing. And that's exactly what happened with me. My 4-year-old opened the box that had my pipe and my tobacco in there. I believe it's either this one or Mad Fiddler Flake that Bradley from Stuff and Things reviewed. And my wife saw me watching it and saying, oh, that'd be interesting tobacco to try because of the Custuri blend in it. And so she put that in the back of her brain, and that's what they ordered and got me. So I was pretty impressed with that. For her to nail a tobacco blend, that's really paying attention in a way in which not many people do. So I'm pretty impressed with my wife this time around. And it's a good English blend. It's got a little bit of pepper in there, a little bit of spice. Let's see if I can tell you what else it's got in the blend itself. Is there a tin description? And if there is, Um, all right, so it's got notes of Latakia, Custody, Virginia's, Burley, Perique, and Black Cavendish. I don't really get the Black Cavendish in here. Maybe that is some of that sweetness that I smell in the 10 note. The 10 note really is kind of a classic Latakia with a sweeter note itself. But so we did that. So probably about 10:30. We had all the presents open. We had gobs of wrapping paper everywhere. And all the kids got scooters, not electrical scooters, good old-fashioned pedal it with your leg scooter. And so they were out going around the block in the neighborhood, doing it. My son's, my 9-year-old, his has a little brake. It's a Razor scooter. It's got a little brake on the back that you put it down and sparks fly out and the wheels light up as it goes around. And he was just into it all day, just, nonstop. Anywhere, any chance he got, he was on the scooter and he was making sparks fly. So that was a lot of fun to see him enjoy that. It was a lot of fun to see him say, hey, best Christmas present ever. And so that was great. And when we had breakfast this morning, we tried to do a little devotional. We opened up Isaiah chapter 9, the whole "For unto us a child is born, and the government shall be upon his shoulders." And so really the idea that's coming forward in Isaiah is that there is going to be someone who will be born to Israel who will rule the world, but in a just, righteous, and peaceful way. And just kind of talking through what that looks like. That, so many times we in the Christian faith, especially the evangelical Protestant side of the faith, can focus so much just on sins and needing sins to be forgiven that we can miss the big picture of God promising to make the entire world right and just and true, and not just to fix just a problem with sin. Sin's important, but it's much bigger than that. He's fixing everything, not just that. And so we kind of talked through that this morning. Then we opened presents. I got a good nap in. My wife got a nap in. Our kids ate way too much candy and had way too much fun. And then we went over to my parents again this evening to go spend some time with them, and had a lovely steak dinner. And it was just a good old time. I don't know if that's really traditional. I don't know if anybody else has steak on Christmas, but that's what we tend to do. In my family, for big meals like that, we have multi-meated meals, meaning we've got more than one meat. So we actually had Cornish game hens as well. So you can have Cornish game hen or steak. I had about a fourth of a ribeye and about a half of a Cornish game hen for dinner tonight. And so wrap all that up, got the kids home about 8:30, and they were all just exhausted and fell straight to sleep. And that's great, but we still got to clean up the house and take care of all the rest of the stuff, and I've got to go to work tomorrow, and like most everybody else in the world. So tonight I thought I would smoke this wonderful new pipe with you. It's a lovely shape. I know I'm a little all over the place, but this pipe itself, so I've got one other Prince shape from Savinelli, but this one, the 315 king size, it's a little bit shorter, a little bit heavier than the other one I have, because I think the other one that I have is officially a 313, which just means it's slightly different from their regular 315 shape. And it just feels better in the hand. It's a great little pipe. It's easy to clench if I need to clench. Just fits right in the mouth. Perfect. perfect pipe. So I'm very thrilled with it. The Scotch I'm drinking tonight. So I'm enjoying that. This is the first time I've ever, not tonight, but I drink a little bit of Scotch every now and then, not very often. And I've been trying a few single malt Scotches. I'm not an expert in them at all. But I've really been just kind of trying a few every now and then. And so this one I bought, it's bourbon cask matured, which is kind of interesting to me because my impression was that most Scotches were bourbon cask matured. Anyway. So I don't know if that's a bit of just kind of marketing gimmickry, so to speak, or not. But anyway, it is so it's an Islay whiskey, and what do you say, Lafroig is an Islay whiskey. Lafroig commercials, if you ever see them, people will be like, this tastes like burnt rubber tire, and they're just proud of that. That's a really strong whiskey that's got pretty unique flavor and taste, and actually I like Lafroig a lot. This is probably the peatiest Scotch I've had. But it's good. I really enjoy a pipe and Scotch, mainly because I find that there's some flavors in the Scotch that really come out while I'm smoking my pipe. But yeah, so good time had by all. Grandparents, kids are in bed. We'll finish up, clean up the house, but I'm relaxing. Going to try and break in this pipe a little bit. One thing I did find out that's kind of interesting, and it's a little bit. I asked the question tonight of my dad, mainly because of watching Road Glide Sully's videos on him trying to find tobaccos that his grandfather smoked, and my father smoked a pipe when I was young, stopped doing that, and started smoking cigars. And he mostly smoked machine-made cigars. Then he switched about 7 or 8 years ago and started smoking handmades. I'd really, from the time I could spend money on cigars, I had my own money to spend on cigars. I bought handmade cigars. But the point of this whole story, sorry for the little side jaunt, was that I don't really remember my grandfather smoking a pipe, but I've always heard stories about my great-grandfather smoking a pipe, and that he used to smoke a K-Woody, and he'd built up so much cake in his pipe that he actually cracked his bowl because of the cake, and he really couldn't even fit more than like a pinky finger's worth of tobacco in his pipe. And so it's interesting to me to hear a lot of those stories from people who smoke pipes. Gosh, he was dead before I was alive. Not by many years, but it's probably been 40 or 50 years ago, and probably to have that memory, you're talking even, this is my dad recounting that memory of that pipe, probably 10 years before that would be my guess. So you're talking 50 or 60 years ago. It seems a real common practice. A lot of pipe smokers just didn't maintain their pipes the way we would think people should maintain their pipes and keep the cake level down. Anyway, so I asked my dad, what did your granddad smoke? he was a big pipe smoker. He said, well, during the Depression, he'd smoke coffee grinds when he couldn't find or afford his tobacco. That's how hard up he was for it, that he'd actually take out his coffee grinds from the morning. And he lived in New Orleans, grew up in New Orleans. Actually, he didn't grow up in New Orleans. He came over on the boat from Italy. But came over real young, like 4 or 5 years old, and then his family settled in New Orleans. He grew up there. Anyway, so the whole point of why New Orleans is important, because in South Louisiana, in their coffee, they most of the time put chicory, or a lot of times do put chicory in their coffee. And so he would take those coffee grounds with chicory in it and would dry it out, and then he'd stuff it in his pipe and he'd smoke it when he didn't have tobacco to smoke. But when he did have something to smoke, I'm told he smoked Granger. And sorry, I have some critter in my backyard. Don't know exactly what it is at this point. Oh well, probably a raccoon or a cat. But he smoked Granger. I know Granger's still on the market, and so I might try it out one day just to kind of see, hey, what is this like? I know it probably won't be like what it was in the, in the 1960s and 70s when he was smoking it, but that's what he smoked. Well, gang, I know that it's been a little bit of a ramble, but it's the end of Christmas Day. And if you're watching it, figured you'd probably just watch. Well, sorry. Whatever that thing is making me investigate. Yeah, it's a raccoon. I see it now. I hate raccoons. Sorry. Sorry it's been a little bit of a ramble of a video, and probably been torture on you for those who watched. But I hope you've had a Merry Christmas. I know my day's been full. It's been a fun day, and I hope your day was full of family as well. And we'll see you again. See you on Thursday. Hopefully the beard fills in a little bit, and hopefully my 2 days of dieting will have corrected this double chin I've developed in the last few weeks. With that, roll of pipes. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.